I'm Jake, a 17-year-old high school senior with a knack for finding trouble. Or rather, trouble finding me. My life is a sitcom, and the main characters are my dad, a lovable but clueless millionaire named Richard, and my stepmother, Tiffany, who I'm 99% sure is the human equivalent of a glitter-covered piranha. Oh, and there's me, the reluctant hero just trying to survive the drama. Dad made his fortune in the weirdest way possible, selling novelty socks with motivational quotes on them. You know, stuff like "step into greatness" or "totally awesome." Somehow, this bizarre business idea turned him into a multi-millionaire. I guess people really needed socks to inspire them to get out of bed in the morning. Anyway, Dad's a big softie, especially when it comes to me, his only kid. He's always trying to make up for the fact that my mom passed away when I was 5 by showering me with love and occasionally extravagant gifts. Then there's Tiffany. Oh, Tiffany. She's 29, blonde, and has the personality of a reality TV star who's been told the cameras are rolling 24/7. She married my dad 2 years ago, and let's just say her vows might as well have been, "I, Tiffany, take thee, Richard, for your bank account, your yacht, and your private jet, till death do us part." She's the textbook definition of a gold digger, and she doesn't even try to hide it. Her favorite hobbies include shopping, complaining, and making sure everyone knows she's wearing something designer. Her catchphrase, "Oh darling, this is just too pedestrian for me." And me? I'm just trying to graduate high school, avoid Tiffany's meltdowns, and maybe, just maybe, get a car so I don't have to ride the school bus with freshmen who think fart jokes are the height of comedy. It all started on a random Tuesday. I was sitting at the breakfast table when Dad burst into the room with a grin so wide I thought his face might split in half. "Jake, my boy," he exclaimed, clapping his hands together. "I've got a surprise for you." Tiffany, who was sipping her kale smoothie, because apparently regular smoothies are for peasants, looked up from her phone, where she was no doubt browsing for diamond-encrusted yoga mats. "A surprise?" she said, her voice dripping with suspicion. "For Jake?" "Yup," Dad said, oblivious to the storm brewing in Tiffany's perfectly contoured face. "Jake, you've been working so hard at school, and I know you've been saving up for a car, but I thought, why wait? So I got you one." I nearly choked on my cereal. "A car? You got me a car? Like an actual car with wheels and an engine and everything? Not just any car," Dad said, pulling out his phone to show me a picture. "A brand new Tesla Model Y. Electric, eco-friendly, and packed with all the bells and whistles. It's being delivered this afternoon." I was speechless. A Tesla? That was like the holy grail of cars for a teenager. I could already imagine cruising to school, blasting music, and never having to smell the sweaty armpit of the bus driver again. "Dad, you're the best," I said, jumping up to hug him. Tiffany, however, was not sharing in the joy. Her smoothie glass hit the table with a dramatic thud, and her eyes narrowed into slits. "A Tesla?" she hissed. "For him? Richard, darling, are you serious?" "Of course I'm serious," Dad said, still grinning like a kid on Christmas. "Jake deserves it. He's a good kid." Tiffany's face turned a shade of red that clashed horribly with her pink silk robe. "But what about me?" she demanded, her voice rising to a pitch that could shatter glass. "I've been asking for a new Birkin bag for months. Do you know how embarrassing it is to be seen with last season's bag? And you're out here buying him a Tesla?" "Tiffany, honey," Dad said, trying to placate her, "you have plenty of bags, and Jake needs a car to get to school." "Needs?" Tiffany shrieked. "He needs a car? What about my needs? I need to maintain my image, Richard. I need to look the part of a millionaire's wife. And you're wasting money on a teenager who probably doesn't even know how to parallel park." I couldn't help myself. "Actually," I said, smirking, "I aced my driving test, parallel parking included." Tiffany shot me a look that could have melted steel. "Oh, shut up, Jake," she snapped. "This isn't about you. This is about fairness. Richard, if you can afford a Tesla for him, you can afford a Birkin for me." Dad, bless his heart, tried to reason with her. "Tiffany, a Birkin bag costs what, $20,000? The Tesla was a practical purchase. Jake needs transportation." "Practical?" Tiffany screeched, standing up so fast her chair toppled over. "Practical? Oh, I'll show you practical." And with that, she stormed out. By the time the Tesla was delivered that afternoon, Tiffany had worked herself into a full-blown tantrum. I was outside, admiring the sleek black car, running my hands over the smooth surface, when I heard the unmistakable sound of high heels clacking furiously on the driveway. "Jake," Tiffany bellowed, storming out of the house in a cloud of perfume and rage. She was wearing a sequined jumpsuit, because apparently tantrums require a costume change, and her arms were flailing like she was trying to swat an invisible swarm of bees. "You think you can just waltz in here and take what's rightfully mine?" Tiffany," I said, trying not to laugh. "It's a car, not a diamond tiara." "Don't you sass me, you little ingrate," she snapped, pointing a manicured finger at me. "This is an outrage, an absolute outrage. Richard, how could you do this to me?" Dad, who had just come outside to see the car, looked bewildered. "Tiffany, honey, it's just a car. Jake needs it for school." "Needs it?" Tiffany shrieked, her voice hitting a pitch that made the neighborhood dogs start howling. "What about my needs? I need a new wardrobe. I need a vacation to the Maldives. I need a personal masseuse named Sven. But no, you're out here buying cars for this teenager." At this point, I couldn't hold back my laughter. "Tiffany," I said, "I'm pretty sure Sven isn't in the budget, but I'm happy to give you a ride to the mall in my new Tesla." That was apparently the wrong thing to say. Tiffany's eyes widened to the size of dinner plates, and she let out a scream that could have woken up a coma patient. "A ride? A ride? Oh, you think this is funny, Jake? You think you can mock me? I'll show you." And then, in a move that I can only describe as Oscar-worthy, Tiffany threw herself onto the hood of the Tesla, sprawling out like a starfish and kicking her legs in the air. "I won't move," she wailed. "I won't move until you return this car and buy me my Birkin bag. This is an injustice, I tell you." Dad and I just stood there, staring at the spectacle. Tiffany," Dad said cautiously, "you're gonna scratch the paint. I don't care about your stupid paint." Tiffany screamed, pounding her fists on the hood. "I want my bag. I want my bag. I want my bag." At this point, the neighbors had started to gather. Mrs. Henderson from across the street was filming the whole thing on her phone, no doubt planning to upload it to the neighborhood Facebook group. Mr. Rodriguez, who was walking his dog, stopped to watch, his dachshund yapping excitedly at the chaos. "Should we call someone?" I whispered to Dad. "Like who?" Dad whispered back. "The fire department? The National Guard?" "I was thinking more like a therapist," I said, grinning. Tiffany, meanwhile, had moved on to phase 2 of her tantrum. She slid off the hood of the car, landing dramatically on the driveway, and began rolling around, clutching her head and wailing. "Why me? Why me? Why must I suffer like this?" Tiffany," I said, trying to keep a straight face, "you're getting gravel in your hair." "I don't care about my hair," she shrieked, sitting up and glaring at me. "I care about my Birkin. Richard, if you don't return this car right now, I'm leaving, and I'm taking the yacht with me." Dad sighed. "Tiffany, you can't take the yacht. It's in my name." "Then I'll take the jet," she screamed, standing up and brushing gravel off her jumpsuit. Or I'll sell all your stupid socks. Yes, that's it. I'll burn them. I'll burn every last motivational sock in this house." "Okay, now you've gone too far," Dad said, crossing his arms. "Nobody threatens the socks." I couldn't help it. I burst out laughing. This was without a doubt the most ridiculous thing I'd ever seen. Tiffany, realizing she wasn't getting anywhere, let out one final ear-piercing scream, then stormed back into the house, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. "Well," I said, turning to Dad, "that was entertaining." Dad shook his head. "I think I need a vacation." "Take me with you," I said, grinning, "and the Tesla." You'd think Tiffany's tantrum would be the end of it, but oh no. Tiffany wasn't the type to let things go. Over the next few days, she launched a full-scale campaign to make my life miserable and to get her precious Birkin bag. Her first move was sabotage. I woke up one morning to find the Tesla covered in pink glitter. Yes, glitter. It was like a unicorn had exploded on my car. There was a note attached to the windshield that read, in Tiffany's loopy handwriting, "If I can't have my bag, you can't have your car looking good." "Very mature," I muttered, grabbing a hose to wash it off. But glitter, as it turns out, is the herpes of craft supplies. It never goes away. I spent 2 hours scrubbing, and there were still sparkles embedded in the paint. Tiffany's next move was psychological warfare. She started blasting opera music at full volume every time I tried to study, claiming it was good for her soul. She also accidentally spilled her kale smoothie all over my calculus textbook, then claimed it was my fault for leaving it on the kitchen table. Honestly, Jake, she said, batting her eyelashes, you should be more responsible. But the pièce de résistance came on Friday night when I was getting ready to take the Tesla out for my first official drive to a school football game. I walked outside, keys in hand, only to find Tiffany sitting in the driver's seat, refusing to move. Tiffany, I said, trying to stay calm, what are you doing? I'm staging a sit-in, she said, crossing her arms. Until Richard agrees to buy me my Birkin, this car isn't going anywhere. Tiffany, I said, I have a game to get to. My friends are waiting for me. Oh, boo-hoo, she said, rolling her eyes. Your little football game is not my problem. My problem is that I'm still Birkinless. At this point, I was starting to lose my patience. Tiffany, I said, if you don't get out of my car, I'm calling Dad. Go ahead, she said, smirking. He's at a sock convention in Vegas. He won't be back until Sunday. I groaned. Of course Dad was at a sock convention. Why wouldn't he be? Okay, fine, I said, thinking fast. You want to play dirty? Let's play dirty. I pulled out my phone and started filming her. Hey, Tiffany, I said, grinning, say hi to the internet. I'm sure the world would love to see the great Tiffany throwing a tantrum in a teenager's car. Tiffany's eyes widened. You wouldn't dare, she hissed. Oh, I would, I said, zooming in on her. In fact, I think this would go viral. Gold-digging stepmom stages car sit-in. You won't believe what happens next. Tiffany let out a scream of frustration, then threw open the car door and stormed out, nearly tripping over her own heels in the process. This isn't over, Jake, she yelled, pointing at me. You'll regret this. Sure I will, I said, waving as I climbed into the driver's seat. See you later. Tiffany, don't trip on your way back to the house. By the time Dad got back from his sock convention, Tiffany had calmed down, sort of. She was still sulking, but she'd stopped throwing tantrums, mainly because Dad had finally caved and ordered her a Birkin bag. It's just easier this way, he told me, sighing. Peace in the house is worth $20,000. Hey, as long as I get to keep the Tesla, I said, grinning. Tiffany, meanwhile, was basking in her victory. She spent the next week strutting around the house, showing off pictures of the bag she'd ordered and reminding everyone how underappreciated she was. You see, Jake, she said one day, smirking at me, in the end, I always get what I want. Yeah, well, I said, smirking back, I got a Tesla and you got a purse. I think I win. Tiffany's face turned red, but before she could launch into another tantrum, I grabbed my keys and headed out the door. Gotta go, Tiffany, I said, waving. The open road is calling. As I drove off in my shiny new Tesla, I couldn't help but laugh. Sure, life with Tiffany was a circus, but hey, at least I had front row seats and a really cool car. Thank you so much for your watching and listening. Don't forget to like, share, comment your idea, and subscribe to my new channel to help it grow and bring you daily video updates.